You will recall it was Eric Garner who told officers, "I can't breathe," multiple times before his death. Attorney Vinoo Varghese joins me now by the phone. Vinoo, thank you so much for joining us. What is your reaction to the decision of the NYPD police commissioner here?
First, I think he did the right thing. I mean, you have the recommendations. He said multiple times this was done by the judge, and his deputy seconded, and he's following their recommendations. So I think, he did the right thing. I think when you look at this case and you watch that video over and over again, what's clear is that this was excessive. This was beyond the pale, and he should have been fired a long time ago. And there's precedent here. A lot of people have said he wasn't brought up on federal charges. I think that really depends on which administration, and obviously this was over two different administrations, but it depends on who's reviewing the case. There was a similar case out of the Bronx in the 90s where a police officer choked Francis Livoti, choked somebody who was involved in a football game on the street, and it went beyond the pale, and he was convicted and charged by the feds. But as an employee, there's regulations, and he didn't follow the regulations, and the commissioner did the right thing.
Right, and so legally then, did the NYPD have any other option here?
Yeah, I'm sure they don't have to follow. The commissioner didn't have to follow the recommendations. So legally, yes, he had options. I don't think that would have been wise on his part as the commissioner. I mean, there's a lot of talk about what police officers that I've heard say rank and file police officers disagree. I'm not sure about that. I think the PBA is very loud. But that doesn't mean that every officer or thousands of officers agree with what Pantaleo did. I think a lot of them wouldn't have done that. And if you look at this, confrontation, it could have been and should have been de-escalated before of taking a chokehold and bringing a man down and him screaming, "I can't breathe," and then him dying. It was
right, and some observers will say that Pantaleo is lucky to get off just with termination.
I would agree with that, and that's why I mentioned the Livoti case out of the Bronx, that he was an officer who was ultimately brought up and put forward and prosecuted by the federal government on federal civil rights violation charges.
Right, and so do you think then, all of that considered, that Pantaleo will take action against the NYPD, or do you think that he will sort of accept this and move on?
Maybe, between those that are backing him and everything, he'll take action. I don't see it going anywhere. I think he's out of options. He certainly can certainly take this, and he can do what he wants, but he's not going to present a very sympathetic figure in this case. I mean, his actions were extreme, and he was the one that was definitely the most extreme of the officers involved. And so because of that, I just don't see him having any recourse. This is a decision that looks like three different layers of the NYPD made that decision, including and ending with the commissioner.
All right. Vinoo Varghese, thank you for sharing your legal expertise with us.
It's my pleasure.